Good evening. Happy to see you. Those that with us on Zoom that are not in Hanover, we just went through the 3 weeks of agony of mourning that's starting from Yud Zayin of Tammuz, the 17th of Tammuz, till the 9th of Av, which we know that 9th of Av, it's probably the greatest day of mourning to our nation. A day that 3,300 years ago, we got the news that we're not getting into Israel, into the Holy Land, but actually going to stuck for 40 more years at the desert. And not because, like God Almighty came and didn't want to give us to enter our land, but because ourselves, we're ruined to ourselves. Yeah, as the songs usually say, you reap what you sow, right? In Russian, you say, you eat what you cooked. And continuing with the destructions of our temples through the exile from Spain and the final solution of the Nazis that was signed at that date. Continue with what happened 20 years ago when the Israeli government actually kicked the Jews of Gaza out of Gaza in 2005. It was the time it was the end of my service in the army. Next to me in the military jail sat few good guys that also refused to take part in this strategy. And for me till this day, it's a painful memory that we saw to what it brought. Right. The question is the 7th of October and what happened the 7th of October. Did it start from us getting out of Gaza finally, or actually it started before with the Oslo Accords? It's actually a big question. It's a big question. So we're starting with the 9th of Av, which is a very painful day, but the theme of today's lesson is that from such a low point, historical low point, national low point, personal low point, we're getting to one of the highest days of the year, which actually going to, if the 9th of Av just happened this previous Sunday, this coming Friday evening and Saturday, the whole Shabbat, it's the 15th day of Av, the 15th day of the month of Av, which considered to be one of the two most grateful and happy days that we can have. Can you guess the second day? The second day is Yom Kippur. The second day is Yom Kippur. The common thing with Yom Kippur and the 15th of Av, which the 15th of Av, it's not a holiday. You don't have prayers. You don't blow the shofar. You don't shake the lulav and the etrog. You're not fasting. It's like a regular day. So how come it's so happy? One of the traditions that we have of Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur, and this is why we call Tu B'Av the day of love, the Jewish Valentine's Day, if you would like, is that there was a tradition that young women that are ready to get married and young men that also ready to get married in certain tradition. So they went outside to get to meet each other and to find how you can say, to find your own soulmate. So it was a tradition that the Israelites did twice a year, on Tu B'Av and the Yom Kippur. One of the things that the women that used to go out, everybody used to wear white, and no girl had the permission to have her own clothes. You have to borrow clothes for somebody else. Why? So nobody will know, oh, she's rich, she's poor. No, everybody are equal in that sense, in order to find the best partner to have a family with, right? To have your soul. So the 15th of Av, that in many ways have symbolic good things that happened, that have some parallels with the bad things that happened with the 9th of Av. So for example, the 9th of Av, we didn't get into the Holy Land. We didn't get to Israel, right? We got stuck for 40 years, meaning it's like kind of a block between us and Israel that cut us off for 40 years. Well, at some point in Israel, in the historical Israel, we used to have one kingdom, and our first king was who?
Shlomo?
No, is the third one. Who is the first one? Our first king is Shaul. Our first king is Shaul, the one who nominated him. I mean, God chose him, but the one that took him to be a king was Prophet Shmuel. Prophet Shmuel appointed him to be a king. He was the first king. The second king was King David. There's a whole drama between them. The third king is King Shlomo, Solomon, and the grandchild of King David, one of them, Rechavam, which is the fourth king of Israel. In his time, the kingdom got split into two. Rechavam, the son of Shlomo, he got to rule only the small kingdom of Judea. And the main kingdom, which is the north of today's Israel, was the kingdom of Israel. And the first king they had was Yerovam. So Yerovam, a very interesting figure. I really recommend to read those stories from the Torah, from the Tanakh. Right, the books of Shmuel, A and B, and then Kings, the first and the second book, and so on. So he was afraid that the Israelites need to go to Jerusalem 3 times a year, and then he will lose his subjects. So he blocked the roads from his kingdom to Jerusalem. For many years it was blocked, but the date that was blocked got destroyed and removed was the 15th of Av. So if the 9th of Av, it's a disconnection from Israel, disconnection from Jerusalem, the Tu B'Av is the symbol of reconnecting. Okay? If 9th of Av, it's a symbol of hatred, self-hatred, losing the ability to be together or to think clearly. Tu B'Av, it's the symbol of connecting, of creating a family, of union and reunion, and so on. And maybe here also we can find the secret of how come our nation is falling so many times into destruction, into hatred, into agony and tragedy. And every time we are raising even higher than we have been before. And this is what our lesson going to be about today. So another thing is that when we're talking about our history as individuals or as a nation, it's not only gathering the facts, but it's also from what point of view I'm looking at on those facts. It's very important. What we always love to call narratives. What's your narrative? The facts are important. And the facts do not care how I feel. But it is important how I look on those facts. So this thought about us, also going to go with us this evening. So if we start with the 9th of Av, I also want to continue with the 7th of October. So we know the 7th of October, if just to try to remember where you've been on this day. I already was living in Israel, but I was flying all the time to my community. It was the Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah, 2 days of religious holiday. So The only thing we saw that the synagogue suddenly is empty and almost no one is coming. People are hysteric in a way and giving you news that you cannot comprehend because there's no chance it's true. We got stuck there for a while because suddenly you need to increase security and bring psychologists, and you have families in the community that our kids are in the army, and you need to support that, and gathering money and means, and going to the news, writing articles, going to the TV shows, to radio shows, demonstrations, and everything that you can. But at the same time, with the tragedy, with the pain, with the agony, to see the love, the support, the unconditional love, the ability to take responsibility upon each other was unbelievable, overwhelming. People risking everything they have to go to help another person that 5 minutes ago maybe they could hate each other, maybe go to a fight because of the politics or because of religious views. At the same time, it all raised. Doesn't matter. You're Sephardic, you're Ashkenazic, you're a Litvak, you're a Chassid, you're from the north or from the south, you are right or left. Do not care. The care for each other, it continues till this day. Media do not tell you about it, but this is the fact. Actually, we just had amazing news because a woman, a great woman that lost her husband almost 2 years ago. They part of our community in Israel, in Harish. So she just got engaged this week. So she's going to remarry, and to choose life, and to continue. So the kids would have a father. So it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. To choose life. And it happened parallel with the tragedy. After we spoke about the 7th of October, we can also talk about the 8th of October. So the 8th of October, it's another phenomena after the 7th. Because on the 8th, from one point of view, the anti-Semitism that never went away, just maybe went to sleep or was underground, suddenly take his head up all over the place, even in the places that consider to be very fellow-Semitic, like Germany, like the States, like Australia. Today I have friends that are running away from Australia because it's insane. Every meeting against Israel, it's hundreds of thousands of people and very violent and so on. And it's a real risk. But also, the 8th of October, suddenly people start to get reminded who they are. The percentage of activity in so many communities went up. People start to ask and wanted to be more connected with their roots, with their heritage and so on. So, God forbid, no one is saying that, oh, good that we have a war. No, nobody say that. What we do say is that with the war and the devastation and the atrocities and the horrible hatred that we see and destruction, we have to find the ability to see a wider picture. First of all, not to give up, not to fall into depression. We have to see a bigger picture in order to continue and to grow. We did it before, and we need to do it also now. And as my teacher, Rav Sherki, is teaching that you always should see what merit or what will be the most significant virtue that a religion or a society thinks to be the most important. Probably it's the virtue that they have the most problem with. So for example, nation of Israel, we say, Shema Israel, hear Israel, listen, God Almighty is one. We're talking all the time about unity, right? Being one, being in unity. So our weakest point is actually in our unity. because all our history, always brothers against each other. And so we had one kingdom, it became two. And then the whole problems, the destruction of the second temple, it was fight between two brothers who will be the king that brought Rome to Israel. So the whole thing, it's our problem of being together. So in diaspora, mainly what connects us? The hatred of others, unfortunately. But today, in the past 80 years, we have another glue to be together. And it's the land of Israel. So in the beginning of the new government that we have in Israel, maybe we saw it less. But as time goes, suddenly you see Sephardic with Ashkenazic and Hasidic with Litvak coming together, living together, praying even together sometimes, right? So the idea of coming together, it's actually one of the main tools that we can have in order to get out of the 9th of Av, getting out of mourning into a holiday of love, of unity, of reconnecting, of Tu B'Av. So what do we do that at times when we don't have the energy, we don't have the spirit? What do we do? So of course, prayer, it's one of the most it's one of those most known instrument that we use. And prayer, that doesn't mean hours of prayer. Sometimes it can be one phrase, a short prayer that our sages brought together for us. Sometimes it can be my own words at home, or just go to the nature, go to the forest and talk with God out loud. Another thing is that if it's to be good to others, a good deed. Yeah, I knew someone that she used to say that if somebody getting depressed, but it's not a clinical depression, yeah, the best way to get out of it, go start to wipe the floor, start to do something good for somebody else, take care of each other, a family member, a community member. It's not a coincidence that Torah talking about the importance of our families, to have a family, to have a community, to have friends, and so on. And of course, to know how to ask for help when needed. It's a very important concept. So the idea that the Torah is teaching us that we do not have the luxury of giving up. It says in the Talmud, doctors, to hell. And I'm saying it because all my family is doctors, not because you are a doctor. But we need to explain what does it mean. If a doctor gives up on a patient, his place is in hell. Why? Because it means that the doctor confused, and he thinks that he is the one to save or to heal the patient, and not God. But I don't know what to do. I do everything I know. Okay, but you can still be a friend. You can hug. You can say a good word. Yes. So continue. You don't have the luxury of giving up, because it's not yours to give. Right. So to be a doctor, to be it's a very good example, because as much as you study and much you do and do so much good, if I will forget as a doctor that it's God Almighty that bring the healing into the person through his own body, I'm just helping from outside, right? To give the body, or give God in the body to do its own. I cannot give up. Rabbi Nachman of Breslov, he has a very famous quote. He said, "En yeush ba'olam klal." There is no, what would be the right word? Let's see. I cannot remember what would be the right word for it. Let's see. Google to the rescue. Yeah. What would be the good word for it? Let's see. Desperation. There is no place for desperation in this world whatsoever. This is the quote. As so that even the 9th of Av that we talked about today and before, which is a symbol of destruction, it also considered to be the day of birth of Messiah, of the Mashiach. So Mashiach that comes, there's a good chance that his birthday is the 9th of Av. The day of destruction actually also can be the start of redemption. As our prophets promise us that our days of mourning, the 4 days of fast that we have, the 3rd day of Tishrei, it's the fast of Gedaliah, which connected to political assassination that brought into the destruction of the last Jewish autonomy on the land of Israel after the destruction of the first temple. And then we have the 10th of Tevet, which it was one of the blockades around Jerusalem started. And then we have the 17th day of Tammuz, and then we have the 9th of Av. All those days will become a holiday for all of us, eventually. To be days that we were going to celebrate. This is what our prophet says. And this is where we want to go. It's one of the beautiful ideas that Judaism as the first monotheism is that why monotheism is so important? Because for the first time, people really actually understand that they are not just a pawns in a game of some gods that they have no control. No, we actually have some control in our life. There is a meaning to my life. It doesn't matter if I will live for 70 years or 80 or 120 years, I have a meaning in my life. And one of the best example is that, okay, so I know I remember my grandfathers and grandmothers and their parents, right? Me personally, I know the names or even some stories starting from the beginning of the 19th century. But before of that, I even do not know the names. But I do know my grandfather, which is Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Sarah, Rivka, Rachel. I know their story. I know who they are. I know where they lived. I know what they did. It's an amazing thing. Why? Because there is a meaning in my life. And this meaning, it means that I cannot give up. There's no place for give up. There's no place for desperation. This is the ability of getting out of the 9th of Av into such a happy day as the 15th of Av. So, as we're getting back to the 7th of October, starting from the atrocities that the smallest and the least capable enemy of Israel did, the damage that we do not remember since the Holocaust, and maybe even worse. But continuing with unbelievable success and miracles on a biblical level, is what happened in Lebanon and Hezbollah and Syria and Iran, the 12 days war with Iran, which are unbelievable. The attacks or the first attacks of Iran on Israel, that nothing failed and everything was like nothing happened. So with all those miracles, we also need to ask ourselves, so what's going on now in Gaza? Because the 7th of October didn't end. We still have 20 hostages in the hands of Hamas. We saw them. We saw how it looked. Well, we knew about it even before, because those that we rescued, they told about it. People that in 1 year lost 30, 40 kilos and more. So what's the problem? Why we do not have this win in Gaza like we had in the other places? I think one of the main problems we had that we never took actually responsibility for Gaza. Because Gaza till 67, well, it was the Ottoman Empire, and then it became part of Egypt till the year of 67, the 6-day war, when we won and Gaza got to our hands. But we never took responsibility to go to, again, we don't know, we don't want them to become Jewish. It's not our goal. Let them be Arabs and Muslims and Christians and so on. But to go to the schools and teach them and talk with them and correct the broken, what's broken there in terms of history and facts and so on. Otherwise, they look, most of Israel are secular. Yeah, those secular Europeans that came here, let them go back. They cannot even understand what we're talking about. But we, and the Torah has what to say and what to teach all the nations of the world. Not because we want everybody will become Jews. No, they don't need to. Each nation can stay its own nation, and they need to be, and they have important things to do in this world. But the moral and the ethics that the Torah give us, it's something that it's our responsibility to share with the whole world. And because we didn't do it then in Gaza, and now it's something that we need to continue, but we let UNRWA to do its own thing, the poison of UNRWA and the poison of that authority or that authority, instead of taking the responsibility, also brought us to this destruction as well. I'm always asking people, when do you think that the Second World War ended? Because it wasn't 45. It was a few generations after, as people got to school and cleansed the ideology that was a poison. Only then we could say, oh, it ended. So this is our responsibility. Raya Cook is giving an interesting thought about wars. Wars, God never starts. It's men that's starting it, and when it starts, God gets into it. Now, war between nations will happen only as those nations have still covered layers of identity or some powers in them that are not revealed yet. And therefore, and through the fight, it gets revealed, unfortunately, through the fight. But if everything was revealed, there wasn't a fight there. For example, so I bring our example. Since when Israel stopped to be the underdog? Since when Israel are powerful, are great, are courageous? When did it start? In the 6-day war. After it, right? After 67, suddenly Israel is not the underdog, even though we are such a small place. Around us, all enemies that are, I don't know, many 100 times more than us, and richer and more people and so on. But we stopped to be the underdog in 67. So a new layer opened in us as a nation. 73, the war of Yom Kippur, opened another layer, the layer of doubt, where we need to doubt ourselves. We actually do not know everything. There are many things that we do not know, we do not understand, that we are blind to. So also the war, for example, of Russia and Ukraine, unfortunately, but it also means that both sides still have some layers to be peeled and revealed in the world. Otherwise, probably there will not be a war. Unfortunately, it's through a war this time. We do not want it. God do not want it. But if men started it, God will finish it. Okay? So Rav Kook also is talking about hatred. Because hatred is a bad thing, but he said, even hatred can bring some good. Because, I hate this person, and all the bad that he represents, I will not be like him. So, as long as my hatred bring me to become a better version of myself, and not taking bad habits of others or bad decisions of others, the hatred is bringing some good to the world. So the hatred in general, it's a bad thing, but as long as it still exists, it's my responsibility to use it, even the hatred, to use it for the good. Not to, I will not do like them. I will be better. Every time the people used to come to my teacher, to my rabbi, and ask him about the Holocaust, how come it happened? Where was God? It's also questions we can ask about the 7th of October. If all those weird answers of, we pray poorly, or it was for us to earn going back to Israel, I don't buy it. I'm against those answers. But his answer for the Holocaust, not only the Holocaust, also gave me personal answer to the 7th of October. And I would like to share with you as an instrument that maybe also you will be able to answer yourself some questions, some unanswered question that you might have. My teacher is teaching us that if we pay attention, the first time somebody attacked us as a nation was when? When we got attacked for the first time. And by who? Miriam.
Amalek?
Right, that's right, that's correct. Amalek. Amalek attacked us as we just got out of Egypt. Why did he attack us inside Egypt? Because as long as we have been slaves, who will attack us? The Egyptians will kill them. They didn't attack us when we got into Israel and conquered Israel and we became strong with armies. They attacked us when we are the weakest, the most vulnerable one. And the most vulnerable point in our life, it's when we're in transition. When you have a patient, one is in the hardest study of a disease, so all the doctors are around, everybody are careful, you give him the medicine, so on. The most dangerous or the most soft spot, it's when, oh, you're almost good, go home, right? It's one of the most scary moments. I shared also here a person that we knew and we were helping and supporting when I was working in the United States. So he won cancer, he got to a full remission, but then he died from a simple virus because his body didn't get the time to build his own defense. So when we're in transition, it's the most vulnerable time that we can be in. This is actually how we also can understand the Second World War, because the transition, moving, already started before. And as part of the transition, we are more vulnerable. So sometimes in history, nothing would happen, like the miracle of Purim. Because the miracle of Purim could end badly and becoming a Holocaust in the Persian Empire for us. It didn't. It didn't. And unfortunately, it did happen. It did happen in the Second World War. It did happen in the 7th of October. It means that probably during this time, we're in a time of transitions. This is why we have been vulnerable, and the enemy took advantage of that. But if it's so, it's another reason why not to give up. Because transition, it's a good thing. It means that we're moving forward. And this is what we should do. And not to forget who is the real enemy. We're living in unbelievable days because today we have something that we didn't have for over than 3,000 years. Because today, the majority, more than half, the majority of the Israelites, of Jews, living actually in their own homeland in Israel. We didn't have it since the destruction of the kingdom of Israel and the exile of the 10 tribes out of the 12. Because since then, when the Assyrians destroyed the kingdom of Israel and we left only with the kingdom of Judea, you always had more Jews somewhere there than in Israel itself. It's like the land of Israel was the satellite and not, it's like Israel became the diaspora and the diaspora became the main one. And finally in our days, it actually getting to its natural structure, because it makes sense that majority of Germans would live in Germany, and the majority of Russians will be in Russia, and the majority of Italians will be in Italy, and the majority of Greeks will be in Greece, and they have satellites, they have diaspora, which is okay. Only in those days we got to that. It means that our transaction going forward. So we do not give up. We do not get too desperate. We're not getting depressed. We're going and moving forward. With the beatings, yes, it's painful. We need to learn We need to strengthen ourselves. We need to work upon ourselves. We need to correct ourselves. We need to correct our traits. We need to correct and transform our ego and our bad desires and so on. But we have the tools to do that. We have the wisdom to do that. We have God with us to help us. If we take responsibility, first of all, upon ourselves, but then also to remember, we didn't came here just to live in our land and that's it. No, we got something in our hands. It's not ours to keep only for ourselves. It was given to us, so we will be able to share it with the world. And this is what we should do. This is what we should do. So even my grandmother that started her life in Kaunas, in Lithuania, through the ghetto and losing all the family, finish the war in Stutthof and then München with the illegal aliyah to Israel. She's not with us anymore. She left a few years back. But a woman that was building Israel with both legs and hands and creating life, how she would look at the world today, knowing that, wow, actually the majority of our people back at home. It's unbelievable. Only 100 years ago, nobody could even imagine that, right? So we're moving forward. So it is important not to forget the lessons of the past, and this is why it is important. Why it is so important for us to continue to segregate the day of the 9th of Av and to celebrate it in the right way. But even more important, again, not to forget the past, but even more important, to continue and to celebrate the 15th of Av, a celebration of life, of new potential for us, for our kids, grandkids, and all the generations to come till Mashiach. Good. Any questions? So she's asking, shouldn't the government of Israel do more in order to explain in the world and so on? So I said, everything that we think that the government should do, it shouldn't do, because we will do it better. And personally, maybe I'm not a libertarian, all right? The idea that government should be just the night watch and that's it. I do think that government can do more. But overall, I personally, again, my education is actually political education. And from what I see, from what I learn, is that the less the government will do, the better, actually, as long as we will do. So they said I didn't really get the question, so she now want to clarify the question even more. So it's true that, for example, the government in Israel, they did the education department did a bad job. Schools today are worse than ones that used to be 10 years ago. But in that sense, as we said about Gaza, that we didn't take the spiritual responsibility. So also Israel didn't take the spiritual responsibility, for example, on the Israeli Arabs. So you can find Arab schools with anti-Semitism inside in the teachings, or the PLO, the Palestinians that they teach absolutely, or what UNRWA. Why? Because we didn't take the responsibility. So what I'm answering is, the government should do more. I agree. So first of all, what you can do, you can go and vote. You can educate yourself. You can educate those that are around you. So today I have, thank God, 3 kids. I educate them. So next time it will not be me alone. It will be already 3 people that are doing the job. It's up to us. Not wait that somebody will come and save the day. Or we will save it, or nobody will save it. Not to wait. So I gave a lesson about Mashiach. Maybe I should give it also here. Who we're waiting for and what we're waiting for. So the idea is not to wait, but to actively wait. Actively. I will not wait. I don't feel good, so I will wait. Somebody will come and help. No, you yourself need to go to the doctor. You need to go to educate yourself. You need to take responsibility upon your life. That's the idea. Each and every one of you had the ability to choose to do something else tonight, but you chose to come to study and to touch some Torah and so. I think it's incredible. It's already a win. We just need to continue to do another step and another step and another step, and eventually we'll win, because we are winning. That's it. Dankeschön. Yeah. Schönen Abend. Ja, schönen Abend. Ja.
תודה רבה, לילה טוב.